everyone, and welcome along to another episode of the Turfcast podcast pre-game show with me, Joe Redmond. Of course, it's Newcastle up next at St James's Park on Saturday, which is tomorrow at the time of recording this. But it's going out pretty late because it's been a very, very tight turnaround, so you'll probably be listening to this on Saturday, which is the day of the game. Massive game, very, very nervous. I don't normally get nervous, apart from when, you're sat there and the game's about to start or whatever. Sometimes I do, if it's a big game. But I'm nervous already for this one, and I've been all day. I've been at work, as you can see. That's how quickly and dedicated I am, by the way. If you watch it on YouTube, you can see my lanyard. Obviously, the Wolves game was on Wednesday, so we've had Thursday and Friday, and then the Newcastle game's on Saturday. I've been working both of them days, so I've not been able to do anything. So I've got in from work tonight, Friday night. I've just warmed my tea up, come straight upstairs to the office, and I've downloaded the answers to the questions that I've sent from the Newcastle fan, but we'll get into that. It's just I've just had to get it done. Like I said, I'm going to try and get it done all the time, so that's exactly what I've done. So dedication to it this time, and hopefully, you appreciate all that. If you are watching on YouTube, please smash that like button. If you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe. The numbers have been quite low since we've come back, so hopefully, if you smash that like button, show a bit of love, then of course that will help the algorithm. But yeah, Newcastle this weekend. Do I think we can beat them? Yeah, I think they're there for the taking, if I'm being honest with you. And I don't really rate Eddie Howe too much, if I'm being honest with you. I think he can't organise the defence to save his life. I think the opposite side effect to that is because he does play forward football, and then he's going to leave gaps at the back. So I'm hoping that plays into Cornet's hands and Dwight's hands and the fullback's hands, so we can get forward and get some crosses in and things like that. So fingers crossed. But we know what Newcastle did to us last season. They can beat us. ASM can be a thorn in our side. So I do think they're there for the taking, but I also think it can go either way, to be honest with you. I am going to predict a Burnley win, though. I'm going to say 2-1 to the Clarets. I was going to nearly said 2-0. I nearly said 2-0, but the defence has been pretty shocking so far this season. Apart from the Wolves game, actually, we played very, very well, but Collins was in. Tarky's probably going to come back. Is that the right decision? Yeah, to be honest, I think it is. But yeah, nervous for this one. Big game. We need to win it. Anyway, like I said, I've got a Newcastle fan on the show. And he's coming up in just a second. But if you haven't already, please smash that like button. Please subscribe. If you're listening on the podcast as well, get in touch with your predictions. Let me know what your prediction is for this game. And if you're watching on the YouTube channel, please put your predictions in the comments below. Anyway, now it's time for the Newcastle fan to get all the lowdown on this weekend's opponents.
Thoughts on Newcastle season so far? I think it's been a very, really disappointing start. 14 games in, haven't won a game just yet. It all just boils down to Mike Ashley and Steve Bruce's running of the club over the past 17 years combined, 15 years with Mike Ashley, 2 years with Steve Bruce as manager. So, and it hasn't really gone well. Steve Bruce has rode his luck in the time he's been at the club. And this season, really, it's run out. Last season he had 2 wins in 22 games. You expect him to be sacked, and he wasn't. It's kind of Ashley's mate in a sense, and he didn't want to sack him. And towards the end, give him this rolling contract, so he would remain after every season. So we would never had a chance to get rid of him if we didn't have a takeover. So this season, it's all about survival. We haven't played very well until Eddie Howe's come in. We haven't looked fit in games. We've only trained three days a week out of a possible 5. And that's not the levels of a Premier League football club. Steve Bruce was well known for having 2 days off in training, 2 days in a row. Then the players would come in 3 days a week, and when it come to game time, Newcastle would be so unfit he couldn't match the opposition. So, but since Eddie Howe's come in, it's been a breath of fresh air. Yeah, I think with Newcastle's battle against the drop, it's always going to be difficult. I mean, till Eddie Howe gets his settled team, what sort of formation he prefers. I know he's an attack-minded coach. So you just hope we can get ourselves out. There's still plenty of games to go. I'm still hopeful we'll get out of it. January's to come with our newfound wealth. I think that might just save us in the end. I'm not really interested in cup competitions, FA Cup, not really. I'm just focusing on finishing 17th in the league, so we stay in the league and we can really start the big rebuild that we need at the club after being neglected so much over Mike Ashley's tenure. And with the new owners, PCP, PIF, Reuben Brothers, such a great consortium to have taken over the club. Interaction with fans is what we've always clamoured for. What they're doing inside the club, informing the fans. They even said in the opening statement that they're just the custodians of the club. It always will belong to the fans, and that's so refreshing to say. Is Mike Ashley just left the club to rot. There were certain aspects of the stadium that fell into disrepair, with signs ripped down, TVs that were too small for the concourses where fans gathered before games. Really dead pigeons in the Gallagher end that had been there about 5 years, hadn't been removed. Windows were dirty. The whole aspect of the stadium was just fell into disrepair. And since the new ownership's come in, they've really tried to get the club back from the brink, in a sense, by even just cleaning the windows. I think the aspect of Newcastle fans, we demand too much. Well, we were just happy to say the windows cleaned at St James's. That's our aspects. We don't set our sights too high in that sort of respect. But yeah, it's like I said, it's so refreshing to say, and you owners that actually care. I mean, yes, you have the human rights issues with the Saudi ownership, but that's always going to come. And they've had numerous run-ins with different organisations saying it's bad for football, it's sports washing, it's this, it's that, the other. Well, we the fans don't. We're not the politicians in all of this. We seem to get caught in the middle, and we seem to say, well, if you're for this takeover, you promote sport washing, you promote the human rights record that you have. And we don't do that. We just go to the ground every single week, support this team. 52,000 for a team bottom of the league is something unheard of. That's the most loyalist fan base in the country. In terms of size, fan base, it's just like a support no other. So yeah, about Eddie, how I feel about Eddie Howe as manager, I think he's been absolute breath of fresh air at the club in his time at the club. He's only been there for about 3 weeks, and he's really got the grips with the squad. I mean, the day after his appointment as manager on the 8th of November, he was in 6:45 in the morning at the training ground with his team to get started straight away, get players out on the pitch, get them going through the rigorous training regime he does. And there was footage on the Newcastle United social media accounts showcasing different pictures of Eddie Howe pointing different areas he wanted the players to be in, bringing players over to him to have a little word with them. I mean, John Joe Shelby, he was notoriously lazy under Steve Bruce. He didn't put 1,000% into a game or to training, and he was still getting picked when he was fit. But in this, he was stood holding on to the dummies, the dummies that used free kicks. He was stood holding on to one of them, holding on. Anything he could lean up against, he did, because he was that tired, and there was pitches going round to Carl Dallow. He's not even supposed to be involved in that sort of rigorous training. You could say he was really panting. In an interview with John Joe Shelby just last week, saying he had to be in bed for 8 o'clock every night because the training regime was so intense. And it was for that game. It was for the 10 days on the international break, the last international break. Eddie had them in 10 days. No days off. He'd made a train session on a Saturday morning at St James's to really get a feel for the stadium, how it feels. His work with Joe Linton he's really improved his game. Joe Linton, he's Eddie Howe's took him under his wing in a sense, and he's showed him what he should be doing. Joe's obviously taken that on board, and ever since then he's been magnificent in games he played in. Well, I've always given Joe Linton stick, but I can't when he's playing so well. I mean, the Brentford game, he was magnificent. He was holding the ball up. He's putting players through. He's doing nifty bits of skill, and he's deserved his goal in the end. Just towards the end, where he could have won it for Newcastle, he just slipped at the vital moment. I can't grumble at that. He was great that day. And the Norwich game on Tuesday night, he was magnificent again, putting his body in where it hurt. Even down to 10 men, he still carried on. And even Shelby also, he's like a new player. So there's a lot of positive aspects since Eddie Howe's come in, and I'm really pleased with him. So we can buy well in January and obviously try and get out of this mess we're in. Start with 3 points against Burnley on Saturday. The only current injury is Paul Dummett, who's been out since the Rotherham pre-season game. He's got a really niggly calf injury that seems to be keeping him out constantly, and he's not close to return anytime soon, even though he penciled in December as a return date to the squad. So out of this squad that's available, there's a fully fit squad available, but Paul Dummett's the only absentee out of that. With Jamal Lascelles and Matt Ritchie returned from a one-match suspension from yellow cards against Arsenal, so they'll be put back in the squad for the game tomorrow. Well, Eddie Howe has done remarkable things than Steve Bruce. He's got the training regime up. He had them in doing bleep tests on the players in his first couple of days as manager. It was, like I say, he likes to attack teams, but he is attack-minded manager, and that's all we've asked for, to be a bit more attacking, a bit more ambitious going forward than we have been. You see encouragement on the touchline on Tuesday night. That was probably his first home game, as he had COVID for the Brentford game. But still, he was watching that game from his hotel room, and he liked a lot of what he saw. The pressing, I've never seen us press so much. Alan Saint-Maximin against Brentford really closed Brentford's back line down. Wilson did, and Joe Linton did on the other side, kind of like a 3-4-3 formation to really close the Brentford back line down. And Alan Saint-Maximin he's a flair player, but sometimes he has to do that sort of thing into his game. I know Newcastle fans adore him for what he can do on the ball, but I think he has to bring that into his game a little bit more to help out in track back and probably pass the ball more, not try and take 3-4 and try and get us up the pitch. That's just the kind of player he is. But yeah, a lot of positives with Eddie Howe, and I was well chuffed with him when he was appointed. I think he was the right man for the job, and he's taken a lot of time out of the game over the year, but he hasn't just sat at home, felt sorry for himself. He's been out. He's been learning off top coaches like Klopp, Guardiola, Simeone at Atletico Madrid. He's really like trying to hone in on his managerial skills to improve even better, and that's all we can ask for, really. I think Newcastle approached the game as much as they did against Norwich till he went down to 10 men. So I feel if Newcastle had went down to kept 11 players on the pitch, Newcastle would have easily beat Norwich. That's just my opinion, but I reckon he would have. It was, with going down to 10 men, you have to be very careful not to obviously concede a goal. You have to concede a lot of possession to try and just keep yourself in the game, and Newcastle did that. So it was I would like to say probably when Fernandes came on, he was magnificent alongside Fabian Schär. He was great also, apart from a little blip at the end. But the team I'd like to say is obviously Dubravka, Manqueo played well, Fabian Schär, Fernandes, Jamal Lewis, who also played well. He's came back in for Matt Ritchie. So I think I hope he keeps his starting spot, as he was good. After not playing for a while, he played very well. Obviously, John Joe Shelby, Ryan Fraser, Joe Willock, and Alan St. Maximan, and Callum Wilson and Joe Linton. I would put up top like a 4-4-2 formation. I know, even though Joe Linton's a striker, but they probably in interchange positions with Sam Maximan and Fraser, just interchanging in sort of the team. So yeah, I'm just hoping we can get that first win of the season. It's come pretty desperate now. Against a team like Burnley, who have only won one game themselves in 14, so they're not much better than what Newcastle are at the moment. But Newcastle have to approach the game to go all out for the win. We would have done that against Norwich, but it didn't come off. We had to sit back and try and hold on. Did take the lead, but it's always going to be very hard to keep a lead once you're down to 10 men. You're working really hard to keep the opposition out. So let's hope it's a positive result for Newcastle. My score prediction, I'm going to say 2-1 to Newcastle. So I hope you like that, Joe. Thank you.